Should we slide this up?
It's green. It doesn't mean anything.
It just powers it on, but then you need to slide that up.
We're ready? Good evening, everybody. How are you? So many smiling faces all the way in the back. Yay, greetings. Happy, what day is today? Wednesday. It's hump day. It took me a minute there. You know, the holidays, you don't know what day it is for a while, and then you got to get back into the groove. So thank you all for joining me today to Talks with Terry. It's our new, it's as good as any. And have a couple things to update you all on. But first, just wanted to mention our Southern California neighbors and friends, and I hope you're keeping them all in your thoughts and prayers right now. Although Covina is not close to the fire, it is not far away either. And so we do have some friends and staff members whose families have been affected and lost their homes. So please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. It's a tough and devastating experience that they're going to walk through for a long time to come now. And we're hoping that that fire comes under control very soon. And so hopefully the worst is past us. But please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. There's a lot going on down there as everybody is trying to make sure that their families are well and safe and have a roof over their head tonight. So as we all go to bed tonight with a safe and dry bed and home, please think of those who don't tonight and are struggling. I wanted to start off tonight by thanking the team for the extraordinary work. Greetings back there. It's like behind the wall. It's just a voice from beyond. You don't know who's talking, right? Yeah, it's not God. She has a much more important things to say than I do, but she'll be on later. I wanted to thank the team for an incredible holiday season. I can tell you, it's amazing. I know what it takes for me to put up a single string of lights outside and a little tiny Christmas tree. Can you imagine the hundreds and hundreds of hours that the team puts into decorations, meals, events, and making the holiday season absolutely spectacular for everyone? So deep gratitude to all of them. Please join me in a little round of appreciation. Some things that you might be interested in. You all know Sandra's gone. She'll be back the end of the month, but lots of stuff happening in her absence. Acacia Creek waits for no man or no woman. There's always things going on. So she asked me to report to all of you some updates and changes in the realm of security here at Acacia Creek, because there's been a lot going on. So first and foremost, the cameras are up and operational. So we get about 30 days worth of data or footage that is stored that we'd be able to look at in the event that we need to. So there are cameras throughout all the common areas, the pool area. So for those of you who may be walking the halls in your skivvies or less in the middle of the night, please be forewarned. All eyes are on you. So behave accordingly. So the cameras are up and operating. Really good news. We've already had an opportunity to check them on a couple things, which is good. We have also ordered safes, personal safes for each and every apartment, and they'll be installed in your apartment. Only you will have access and create a code. There'll be a keypad on each safe. You'll be able to create a code to be able to access what's in your safe. I encourage you to use it for anything that is valuable. The only people, there is a key that can override it, because everybody is worried about what happens if I lose my or forget my password, right? So if you do, we do have a key that overrides that code, and that key will only be accessible to me and to Sandra. So I don't want you to worry about, oh my gosh, what if I forget it? There's a way to deal with that. It's much, much more important that you use the safe and put your valuables in it accordingly. Otherwise, it's just a really pretty ornament in your closet. So it's much more useful to you if you open it and use it. For those who don't, it's a pretty simple process setting up that code, that passcode. If you need any help, we'll be scheduling appointments for all of you to be able to help you with that as well. Okay? Questions about that? I can see people already like, yes.
Just one thing. Are you saying that the safes are going to be secured in the closets, or can they be put anywhere? Like if I wanted to have it out in the living room or something like that, is that possible?
The plan is to secure them, Tice, somebody jump in if I'm wrong, secure them and install them in the closets so that they are, they don't fall on anybody or anything. We want to make sure that they're not going to be a detriment to anybody, right? So they will be installed on a shelf. They will not be installed into the wall. You are correct. And they will be secured to that shelf so that they won't fall.
So they don't just walk off.
And they don't walk off, yes. Nobody can walk. It would be it would be like Ocean's 11, like, 007 to break in and actually take it out of your closet. Yes, ma'am. I believe it's an existing shelf in your closet. Somebody's shaking their head, no? Tice?
Well, hello there. Hi. So, a couple of things. The initial installation point that we have is going to be the entry closet in your apartment. As you just enter your apartment, you have that pantry closet right there. That's the initial part. So I know I see a lot of you guys with your hands like this. We're not looking to install it on the top shelf of the closet inside your bedroom. That wouldn't work. However, we can and are prepared to, if there is a different spot in your apartment that you want the safe to be installed, we are prepared to install it anywhere in your apartment that you'd like. They actually can be installed on the wall if that's what you want. They can be anchored into a stud and they'll be perfectly safe and they won't fall. So they'll be anchored into the stud and then anchored into the drywall and they'll stay there. That's not recommended, but we are prepared to put the safe anywhere in your apartment that you would like it to go. However, we do have a standard installation point, which would be the entry pantry closet in your apartment.
Show and tell.
Show and tell. So
This would be the safe.
this is the safe. And it opens pretty easily. Just like that. Ta-da!
Yes. So the question is, if I already have a safe, do I have to take it or can I decline it? Of course, you can decline the safe. The point being that we want everybody to have a secure place to put their valuables and to have it in a location that you'll actually use it. So if it's too high or too low, it doesn't serve you very well because you won't use it, right? So we want it to be in a place that's accessible and usable and makes sense for you. Yes, ma'am. We will, as Tice said, work with you to figure out, if you don't have a shelf in that closet, we'll figure that out. We'll figure out an appropriate way to mount it in your apartment. So again, the location, thank you for being adaptable to your preference, but also to understand that we want it to be in a place that you're actually going to use it. Okay? All the way in the back, in the best seats. So for those of us who are vertically challenged, also known as short, right? Then yes, we'll want to make sure that whatever shelf from wherever it is installed in your apartment is appropriate for you. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Lower the shelf.
Or lower the shelf. That's above my pay grade, but we can certainly talk to Tice about that. Okay? So everybody's seen the safe. It's a 4-digit code that you get to choose. You're going to put in. We'll walk you through how to do that. If you forget it, no big deal. Please don't share it with anyone. If you forget it, it's no big deal. We've got you. There's a key that overrides it. And as I said, that key will be controlled by Sandra and myself. Okay? All good news. The last thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of security is a process that we're putting into place. You all know that we rekeyed doors. So the keys can't be duplicated, which is great. That was a wonderful first step. The next thing that we're doing is putting a process in place. You all know we have a, what's it called? Away from home, away from, out on pass, off campus form, right? So if you're going to be away from home for any period of time, you let the concierge know downstairs, right? Everybody nod their head that they understand that, right? Okay. So when that occurs, or If you go out to the hospital unexpectedly and we're informed that you're going to be admitted and be gone a few days, we're going to lock up your apartment. We actually change the cylinders to the apartment so that the keys that the staff have won't work. The only people who will have, again, access to that will be through administration. If somebody needs to get into that apartment, if your daughter needs to come and take care of your cat or take your dog to her house because you're at the hospital for a week, we're going to have to let her in. You will not be able to give her your key and she'll be able to get into your apartment. The keys won't work while you're away from home because, again, Sandra and I, administration, will have to approve anybody going into that apartment. Got to be questions about that. Yes, ma'am.
If you're on vacation or if you're in a meeting.
If you're on vacation, then hopefully you're filling out that away from campus form anyway, so that we know that you're gone. And yes, absolutely, we're going to lock out your apartment. If you're concerned about, somebody said, well, what about my plants if I'm on vacation? Cool, then we need to have a conversation about who's going to water your plants and when it's going to happen, because staff is going to have to let them into your apartment. We feel like it's the best way to make sure that nobody is getting access to your apartment when you're away. If you're gone for the afternoon, you're gone for the afternoon. If you go to the emergency room for a couple hours, you go to the emergency room for a couple hours. But if you're admitted or we have any reason to believe that you're going to be gone for more than a few hours, we need to lock up that apartment so that there's no question. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So the question was, I'm going on vacation. I know I'm going to be back late at night, say after 10 o'clock. What do I do? You're going to make sure that we know ahead of time that you're expected to come back, what time you're expected to come back, and we can make a plan for that. Then we'll change the cylinders back out. And that's what we'll plan for. So if we know you're coming back at 10 o'clock, somebody that day as close to 10 o'clock as possible, might be 8 o'clock, but at some point we'll swap the cylinder back out and your normal key when you come home will work. I'm happy to see some heads nodding. It is a process we've been using up the hill for quite some time, and it works. So for instance, if you were admitted to the hospital and then you go to Lorber to skilled nursing for a couple weeks because you need some rehab, and you get over there and like, oh, I really would like my favorite slippers or some of my clothes out of my apartment. The only way that we can do that is if two people walk in, they have to go check out a key from administration so we know who's going into your apartment. Two people have to go so that nobody is in there unobserved or alone. And then they have to turn the key back in. That key can't be duplicated. It can't be used by anybody else. So we really feel like this allows us, if you're away from your apartment, allows us to know that nobody will have access to your apartment without our knowledge. Yes, ma'am.
I gave my second to my daughter.
Sure.
She could come in and out.
So if you've already given a key to somebody else, because we're going to change the cylinders if you were gone. If you went to the hospital tonight and you were gone for a week, we're going to swap out the cylinders. Your key won't work. So if your daughter comes in and tries to use her key, it's not going to work. She's going to have to come to administration and say, I need to get into my mom's apartment, and somebody will have to let her in. Yes.
Okay, now, if we go to the hospital and we're there for a week, and you're gonna change the tumblers or something,
Yes,
and so when we come back, you're gonna put the tumbler back?
correct. So if you're gone, so when you get back, we'll swap the tumblers, the cylinder back out, and your normal key will work again. The goal isn't to lock you out forever. But, so we're going to put the whole thing back and your key will work again. But the point being, if you're not here and we don't think you're going to be here, that your key won't work, the staff's key won't work. The only key that will work will be the one that is controlled by administration. Yes, sir. we're going to try to be as assertive about this as we can possibly be. So even if it's a 48-hour stay somewhere, we're going to try to be as assertive as we can about, I mean, nothing is perfect, but we want to be able to control that apartment while you're gone. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Behind you.
Behind me. Hi, Carol.
What about a close friend? So you always have to take care of her cat or dog. And suddenly she goes on hospital.
So the question was, I'm a close friend and I've always taken care of my neighbor's cat or dog if they're gone. Will I be able to continue to do that if she goes to the hospital? No, you won't. Because unless administration lets you in. So if we know that you're her trusted, everybody who has an animal has these are the people who are okay to like care for my animal. So assuming your name is on that and they're gone, staff will be able to let you into that apartment with administration's perspective or permission. We'll be able to let you in to get the cat or do whatever needs to be done. But it means that as soon as we change that cylinder, the key that she's given and you or entrusted you with won't work. Okay? If she's gone to visit her daughter for the afternoon and she's not away from the apartment, we won't swap out the cylinder. But if we feel like somebody's going to be gone for any length of time, so to speak, then we're going to swap out the cylinder. It just allows us to make sure that your apartment is as secure as possible. Yes, ma'am. Say it again. Who swaps out the cylinder? We have a team that are authorized to swap out the cylinder, but they won't have access to the key to override it either. Again, the only keys that will have access to that apartment once the cylinder is swapped out is through administration or administration's approval. So Sandra and I have a process in place that will allow, if she and I are off campus and somebody needs to get in, we have a process that gives them one-time use of that key. It goes back and the security gets reset for it. So it really is intended to make sure that only the people that have been authorized have access. And we know, for instance, CNA Susie Q needs to get into your apartment for some reason. I can give her access to that key. She signs it out with my verbal permission, and then she has to sign it back in. So I know who went into that apartment, right? So it gives us tracking of who's got access when you're away. Yes, ma'am. Can you opt out of the cylinder swap? There's one in every crowd. I rarely, so the question is, what if I don't want you to swap out my cylinders? I never say never, or rarely say never, but I am going to strongly, strongly discourage you from doing that. This is about protecting all of you. It's also about protecting the team. The team doesn't want to be suspects in any issues either, right? And so as soon as I have a cylinder as soon as we start violating the policy, and something happens, the whole team is now under suspicion again. They're not happy. You're not happy. So this works when we all use it, right? Everybody feels more secure. The team feels secure that they're not being watched or being suspected of something inappropriate. You're more secure knowing that your apartment is locked up and that there's a process to secure it. So it really works when everybody uses it. Questions? That's my 2 cents. Anything else that you would like to hear from me? Yes, ma'am. The chef. Now I'm going to go out on a limb here because Sandra's not here. We made an offer to a chef. I I don't know where they are in the hiring process yet. Are they cleared? January 16th. January 16th. Woo! Yay.
Thursday.
Yes, sir. The chef. I'm sorry. A chef. The question was one word. Chef. Question mark. And my answer was starts on January 16th. Yes, ma'am.
You're gonna hate me as usual.
Never.
I think honestly that we deserve a credit for the food last month that has been or inedible.
I appreciate the comment. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
No answer.
Nope. No, I don't have an answer for you. But I appreciate the thought and I will definitely talk to Sandra about it. Is it going to get better?
It's gotta get better.
It's, so the question, there were two questions. One is, are we going to get a credit for the food that we've had for the last month? And I don't have a good response for that. The other is the food going to get better? And clearly, that's the reason that we hired a new chef. He is appropriately trained. He's been appropriately interviewed, and we believe that he will bring a lot of skill to improving the quality of the food. Yes. I'm sorry, I overlooked you. Yes, ma'am.
Villa has another lock to a garage that if you get into the garage,
Thank you for that. So I'm going to just make a note with Tice. Did you catch that? That the villas have a separate lock in the garage, that if you can get into the garage, you can get into the house. So we need to make sure that we have an appropriate strategy for the villas as well. Okay? Noted. Thank you. What else? Yes, sir. Padlock on the inside of the garage door. You are a handy guy. That will be one, Tice is making a note. What else? Yes. I'll repeat it. So the question has to do with the healthcare related expense that you all get a letter once a year that tells you which portion of your fees were considered to be healthcare related expenses, and you use that for your taxes, right? So I understand that letter came out rather late last year in March. So I will talk to Carol about that and see if there's any way that we can expedite that form. My pleasure. I can't make any promises, but I will definitely advocate strongly. How's that? So I will let everybody know, or Sandra will let everybody know when to expect it, so that if you don't get it, you will know when to raise your hand, okay? And say, I didn't get mine. So I'll make sure that we take care of that. Yes, sir. What was the length of time that I said you would be away from your apartment before you changed the lock? You notice I didn't actually say that. I said for any significant length of time, because I want to give ourselves a little tiny bit of grace, if you will, for your sake and for ours. So for instance, if you go to the emergency room tonight at 8 o'clock and you're still there at 2 or 3 in the morning, sitting in the emergency room, but you haven't been admitted yet, the odds are good you're going to be back the next day, and we probably won't lock out your apartment. If you're admitted we have, based on the information Mina gets from the hospital, we have reason to believe you're going to be there for 2 or 3 days, we're going to lock out your apartment. So the question is, I go to my daughters quite often, are you gone for a day, 2 days, 3 days? For a day? Not a problem. Not a problem. Our goal isn't to make your social lives more complicated. I want you to go to your daughters, and I want you to stay out as late as you can, but later than I can stand, for sure. So our goal isn't to complicate your lives. Our goal is to say that if we have knowledge of the fact that you're going to be away from your apartment for any length of time, so you're filling out that form that says, I'm away, right? That becomes a trigger to us to say, we need to lock that apartment up to make sure that it's safe, okay? It's not to make your lives more miserable or more complicated, but what runs through my head is, frankly, if we know you're away and the staff have knowledge that you're away, or anybody else has knowledge that you're away, then does that make you vulnerable, right? That's what I want to get a handle on. And part of this, we've been talking to our team members too. As I said, they're mortified, right? I have staff that are like, pat me down, search my purse, because they are mortified that this is going on in their community. So part of this is protecting them to make sure that there is no question that they had no access to that apartment, they had no reason to go into that apartment, that they are not suspect if something happens. I also think the more attention you pay to something, the more likely it is to go away, because people know we're watching. We have cameras, we have safes, we have a security system, right? So it makes it much more difficult. It's just like, what do people tell you? I'm not a door locker by nature, but even if I only lock my front door, not my back door, the odds of a break-in go down precipitously because I just put one little tiny barrier between me and a thief, right? So we want to make sure that we're putting reasonable barriers up and protecting the team. Other questions for me? I think I've worn out my welcome. Yes, sir. If you don't fill out the form, then I don't know that you're gone, right? So again, it works better if we're all working together. If you're trying to override the system and say, I didn't fill out the form, I knew I was going to be gone for 3 days, but I didn't fill out the form, it makes it hard for all of us to protect you and protect the staff, right? If you put your booby trap up and somebody's, trips the snare, then yeah, that's a whole different conversation from risk management. But it's helpful to us if you fill out the form so that we know that you're gone. If for no other reason, then I'll tell you what. A community that I used to operate, it was the community that I opened as the chief operating officer at another community or at another company before I came here, is under evacuation in Altadena right now. How do you know that everybody is accounted for if you don't know who's supposed to be on campus? That's the primary reason we want to know if you're off campus. It's not about the cylinders and the locks and all those things. We want to know if you're off campus so that we know how many heads to count. If we have an emergency or a disaster, then we know who's supposed to be accounted for and where to send the search party. So that's the primary reason for it, is for us to know who should be here at some point today. You may be off campus this afternoon or this evening at your daughter's, but we reasonably can expect that you are here or would be here today. I love all the facetious statements. And the booby trap is between you and, your other half. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's, no bear traps. I would appreciate that. Yeah, okay. A simple little snare will be fine. All right. When does this start? We are rolling it out. Tice?
Hello again. So, starting on Monday of next week, the 13th, 14th, and 15th, I am going to be up here in the Turkey Roost from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. when all of you are welcome to come and speak to me and pick out a date and time that you would like to have it installed. We're looking.
They were talking about the cylinders. When are we going to start swapping cylinders?
ASAP. So I was talking about the safes. Yes.
We're ready. We have, Mike, the reason I deferred to you, we have the cylinders, we have the keys, we're ready to go.
We have the cylinders, we have the keys, we're ready to go.
Done. I love it when a plan comes together. Yes,
Quick question, after the tumbler changes,
yes.
I'm gone 2 weeks and I don't tell anybody and it's changed, goes back to my original key?
It will go back to your original key when it's swapped back.
Okay.
So when you come back, we're gonna put your normal cylinder back in, your regular key works
That's
again.
easy.
Yep.
And that's very secure what you're doing for us.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
What are the dimensions on the safe?
What are the dimensions on the safe? I'm gonna say 12 by 9 by 9. I was gonna say, don't quote me, but maybe 10.
12 by 18 by 9.
12 by 18, that can't be 18. Is it really 18?
That's the actual width. Inside is a little bit smaller.
It's the reason he carries a tape measure and I don't. We'll see.
It's gotta be fireproof too.
It is fireproof. All right. I believe it's fireproof.
No.
No, fire resistant.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It won't stop documents from burning.
It won't stop documents from burning, but your gold will probably survive.
It'll pool in the bottom.
Yeah, it'll transform, but it will still be there. All right. Any other questions of me? I will be here for the rest of the, but I'm handing it over to Carol Lee, right? Thank you all.
Hello, everybody. Even the back of the class students, that's where I always sat, right in the back. That's the best spots. And then we got the front of the classroom students right here, which I was always thinking, Okay, so first of all, today we have a double hitter birthday. We do. It is Larry Sadler and Serena Lucchese. I see Larry. Is Serena here? Oh, Serena? All right, let's sing them happy birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Larry and Serena. Happy birthday to you and many more. You're welcome. So I have a funny story about that. So Joe Lucchese's walking down the hallway earlier this afternoon. I see him coming, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to wish him a good birthday. I start singing at the top of my lungs as he's walking down that hallway. He looks at me like I'm full on crazy. And then Leanne says, it's not his birthday. It's his wife's birthday. I'm like, oh, dear God. Okay, it's not your birthday, Joe. So Joe got serenaded as well. Okay, So, as you may know, Paris and Husna have left us at Concierge. They have left to pursue other jobs in their studied fields. Yeah, I know, they didn't think concierge was their lifetime dream, which is fine because it's good for them. They're moving on to what they've studied for. So with that being said, we have 2 positions at concierge that I'm currently hiring for. So soon you will see 2 new faces on our team down there. And I'm excited to see who we get. Paris and Husna left. They just left like by Christmas. They were gone. They were like, whoop. They both went to Cal State East Bay. Yep. So they graduated in the spring. So it was just a matter of time before they found a job in their degrees. So good for them. Okay. So Sandra, Terry, and I were purchasing a vehicle. Yeah, we're finally getting rid of the Taurus. That old sucker's on its literal last wheel. So we're buying a Toyota. It's on the ship on the way from Japan right now. It's going to be down in Southern California, and I believe Terry will be driving it up here someday soon. So hopefully we'll have it by the end of the month. And the one thing that 2 things that was most important was ease of getting in and out of the vehicle, and does that sucker have a large trunk? So both of those check the box. So we have purchased it. This month, we're going to be kicking off our Lunar New Year celebrations. So we have a couple things this month planned, but it rolls on into February as well. So Nancy has a couple committees of residents starting to plan what we're going to do in February. So if you'd like to get involved in the planning, or you have some traditions that you have participated in the past and would like to bring them here, we would love to have it. So reach out to Nancy. Her office is across from Concierge, or give her a call at 3719. Okay, things happening in January. On the 13th at 1 p.m., we'll have our Fit Talk with Yanesa. She'll be talking about our new Pilates group that we have down the gym, which seems to be like a raving success because a lot of people have been attending it. And she's getting Pilates poles that just arrived today. So she'll be implementing that tomorrow. So if you're curious about a Pilates pole, come down tomorrow. She'll show you how to use it. As well on the 13th, after you go to the Fit Talk, then you can go to Chair Yoga. So we will have our friend that came last month? Yeah, in December. Seems so long ago. She's back, and she's going to be here on Monday to do another session of yoga with us. And she'll be down in the gym annex. On the 15th at 2 o'clock, Nancy's going to be doing a presentation called What is Lifestyles? What is Lifestyles? So she's going to be talking about what we do in the Lifestyles department. How do you sign up for a trip? How do we decide what trips and outings we go on? How do you start a new program here? How do you start to create a new event? Ideas you may have for socials or anything like that. This presentation is geared mostly for new residents. We really want the new residents that have come in the last maybe 12 months to attend, but it really is open for everybody. So come on to the multi-purpose room on the 15th and ask your questions and bring your ideas. We're always looking for ideas, so bring the ideas. But if you're new to the community, please come and she'll answer all your questions. On the 19th at 4 p.m., Penny's going to be doing True and False right here. That's such an easy game. I mean, you got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, so you can't really lose. Come and join the fun. And then on the 20th, we will be having a Back in the Day, where residents will be sharing their experience of being a veteran honor flight. You know, we had 3 residents here that were able to participate in that trip a year or 2 ago. So they're going to come back and talk about their experience. On the 23rd, Vietnamese Lunar New Year celebration and traditions are going to be presented by Nancy. She's going to be sharing with us what her culture does for Lunar New Year. I'm sure it's going to be pretty interesting, so please come on up for that. And then on the 24th, we're going to have a TGIF trivia night right here for fun, drinks, and it's also to raise donations for the Resident Appreciation Fund. So make sure you come up for that. On the 28th, we will be having our Goodwill and paper bag donation day. I know a lot of you are spring cleaning or end of the year cleaning, New Year cleaning, whatever. Bring your Goodwill stuff down to the lobby, pack it nicely in a garbage bag or something so it's easy for the guys to get onto the bus. If you have paper sacks you like to donate, stack them straight up in other paper sacks, bring them down to the lobby, and we'll take it off for you. And then on the 29th, we will have a Lunar New Year celebration. So come on up. We're going to have Lunar New Year games, drinks, fun. We're going to have a display in the boardroom. So if you have any artifacts that you would like to display and share with us your culture, that would be wonderful. Talk with Nancy, and she's going to organize the boardroom for us. And then on the 30th, we will have an event down in the Wellness Center, an open house, so to speak, 15 ways to thrive in 25. So we're going to be talking about self-care and what kind of resources do we have on this campus that you can participate in to improve your self-care. So we'll have different people from Sonic Home, resources that are available to you that you may not even know about are going to be down there to share what you can tap into. We are going to have Dante's going to be there talking about the programs in the gym and doing demonstrations on the gym equipment. The salon's going to be open, so Kim's going to be there, Gigi's going to be there. It's just really going to be a nice little open house. So come on down and see what's available to you. Last but not least, pub trivia. January is the month for trivia. Pub trivia with Penny up here, 4 o'clock on the 31st. And that's all I have, gang. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, have a great night. Yes, Miss Linda?
Is there a way that we could get the lady who does the chair yoga more than once a month?
Yes, she's on my ticket. We're looking into that, seeing what we can do. She asked if there's a way that we can get the lady who does the chair yoga more than once a month. And I said, yeah, we're looking into that because I know she was very popular. Oh, and we have a special announcement from Carol Hoff. Sure, why not?
I'll start out with an old poem. Cupid shot his arrow high into the sky. It landed at Acacia Creek. We know the reason why. It's time for the Shriners Hospital Valentine's Day. Big deal. It'll start Friday with a visit from the wonderful Ellen Anderson from the Shriners Hospital for Children, who is going to come at 2 o'clock at the forum. I'd love if everybody would come and hear his little talk about what's new at the Shriners Hospital. On Saturday, Don Goranson will be delivering a little memo and a donation envelope to each apartment. And please, please dig down deep this year. There's more kids pouring into the hospital all the time, and we need the money for them. Acacia Creek is a committed partner to this hospital. We've been doing it for many years. It started with the 90 Society, and now it encompasses the whole campus here. So please, even if you give to another charity, come up with a little something. Every dollar you give is going to put a smile on a kid's face, or maybe a new hand or a new leg or a new arm, something that they've been born without or lost in surgery or an accident. Please keep this in mind. Lastly, I am looking for someone to take my place next year. This is the last year I can do this drive for many reasons. And I would like to have someone with a kind heart who loves little kids, or maybe a couple. Maybe the new people who have moved in are looking for something interesting to do. Believe me, it's an easy job. It only takes place once a year. It's not hard, and the rewards are unbelievable. You're going to feel so good doing this. So please see me tonight or any other time if you can take this on for next year. The people at the Shrine Hospital will be happy to back you up. I will help you. I will train you. It's a very easy job. And this year, I was very worried about being able to do it, but Penny Victoria jumped up as usual and offered to take a load off my back. And then good old Roger Page offered to receive the donations in his apartment. Thank you so much, Roger. And thank you, Penny. And thank you, Don. Don's always been my legs for this, and he continues to do so on Saturday. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you Friday at 2:00.
Okay, that's a wrap. Let's eat.
That's it?